I'm sorry. Alright, here's the deal. The man slid a wad of bills held by a neat silver clip out from his jacket lining, which was stitched from periwinkle silk. I swallowed hard. Tell him you can't accept it flashed through my mind, but again I kept my lips sealed. Name your price. I have to get in here and my mom's gonna kill me. The businessman held his money clip between his index and middle fingers. Lightly he slipped it back into his lapel, as easily as he produced it. He gestured for me to come closer and invited me to listen. I stepped in and he leaned over the chain to put his arm around my neck. I tried to use my hand against his hip to push away, but the awkward bump sent a jolt up my arm. My hand on his hip made for an odd embrace. The man looked around, and my eyes followed his gaze. He was studying the crowd with a serious look. When he settled his attention back on me, he said, "Listen, this seems like a tough job. I get you want to do the right thing. But seriously, you can't be expected to watch this whole line by yourself. You know how many times I cut this line back in the day? We all did. Look, just look. No one's watching. When do you think is the last time your boss peeked around the corner? He just needs to get people downstairs. Come on. This place is a madhouse, a zoo. Look at these fools. What's one cutter? Who will care, really? And you'll be better off for it. Think about it." I took a step back to look around, and it seemed like he was right. No one appeared to be paying attention to us, and I couldn't even see the boss from where I was standing. To stall, I pulled out my phone and was crushed to see it was an hour earlier than I would have guessed. When I peeked up, Tiller had reappeared. He was no longer dipping, and was now relentlessly chomping on gum. He'd thrown on the jacket. The way he was sweating, it looked like he'd broken into a fever downstairs. He looked around like he couldn't understand why I was standing in the middle of the alley. "What's the problem?" Tiller asked, grinning stupidly between chomps. "This guy just cut, and now he's trying to bribe me to let him stay," I said, pocketing my phone. As an afterthought, I began, "Should we tell?" The man's suit was gray, checkered with a slightly darker shade of gray. A red tie knot and a big symmetrical knot stood out against his crisply pressed white shirt. His French cuffs were fastened with links that shone like sterling silver. Tiller saw the cash dangling in the shadow of his lapel. The cutter's money clip, also silver, glinted in the moonlight, and Tiller made a hard sucking noise, like his gum was about to pop out of his mouth. Tiller looked around, tapped the side of my arm and motioned me back a few steps more. In a near whisper, he said into my ear, "Don't worry about this, I'll take care of it. Just go back to watching, make sure no one else cuts." Before I could get a word in, Tiller brought his right hand out of his jacket pocket, adding, "Here's two. Be careful of the taste. Usually I grind them up in some milk. My mom taught me to take pills that way, but you can chew them and that works just as good. There's a time release, though, so if you don't swallow them whole, it'll take a while for them to hit." I opened my right hand by my waist, and Tiller dropped the pills into my palm. I shut my hand and silently returned to where Sam posted me. I felt my mouth getting dry, and the heat from my palm starting to melt the pills. After a hard swallow, I popped the pills into my mouth with a fluid motion, like I was scratching an itch by my nose. I hesitated a moment before grinding up the pills with my back teeth. "You know this is a bad idea," I thought. "You said you wouldn't cross this bridge. But I'm going to be standing out here for a few more hours, and I'm dying out here." Any effect I'd been getting from the extra strength Advil I took before work had long worn off. "You are suffering pointlessly," I thought to myself, "and you've always had the willpower. This one time you could use some immediate relief." There was still a nasty chalk flavor lingering in my mouth when the cutter's money clip snapping open caught my eye, and I witnessed the money change hands. Another chill ran down my spine as I approached Tiller. "So how much money did he give you?" I asked. Tiller turned to spit. He put in a fresh lip. He chuckled to himself, looked over both shoulders, then anxiously back to his phone, which still had not left his hand, and said, "He slipped me $200, no question. Can you believe it? I should have asked for more." "So what are you going to do with the money? You don't think the boss will find out?" Tiller's phone lit up. He shot off a quick text, then finally put the thing away. He actually looked at me again. "What? No, listen man, this whole thing's a fucking scam. The cover, the drinks, all of it. The boss is making a killing. Do you think this place work at all if he didn't turn a blind eye to stuff like this all the time?" "I don't know, man." "Chill out. No one saw a thing," Tiller said. "Fuck. Here's what I'll do. I'll pull it in with the tip out at the end of the night. Everyone will get a share, including you. You didn't think I was going to keep it all for myself, did you?" Staring at Tiller's sweaty forehead, I felt myself getting sick. I didn't like the thought of taking his money. But who are you going to tell, I thought. You watched the whole thing happen. A blonde in perfect shape, wearing simple black leggings and a sweater, walked up to Tiller and gave him a peck on the lips. Tiller's expression of pure gratification, and the remarkably fit girl draped over his arm, drove my thoughts back to the hole I still felt in my chest. As a matter of fact, it felt like it was getting bigger, expanding up. "What's up, babe?" Tiller said. "Babe," Tiller's girl said as she coiffed his matted hair and rubbed his back. It was awkward, terrible to watch. "Who's this?" she asked Tiller. He's a new guy. Robbie," I said. "I'm Karen." She stuck out her hand and I shook it. A friend of Karen's ran up and hugged her. "I'm Lisa," she said once the two girls had calmed down. Sam happened to be walking by. He was headed to the dumpster carrying 2 full trash bags. He ignored Tiller, but when he saw me he began singing. "Come on, Robbie, let's take a little walk. Tell me, who do you love?" In a higher pitch he repeated, "Who do you love? Who do you love?" Lisa laughed, and after Sam was out of sight, said, "You must be Robbie. I was at the game when you got hurt. I'm so sorry. I hope you're all right. I bet you guys will do great next year. You're going to be the starter since Dante is graduating, right?" I did my best to smile, and shook my head. "We'll see. I'm still rehabbing. The doctors aren't sure. They say it'll be tough, and I probably shouldn't say much more. We're trying to keep everything out of the media." Lisa was taken back. She nodded slowly. Tiller and Karen were engulfed in conversation. Karen was pleading with him for something. A shattering crash exploded from the dumpster. The noise caused Lisa to jump. She reached out for my arm in fright, shifting angles so her face was in better light. Deeply tanned, she had dark hair and eyes too. I spotted a sun tattooed on her wrist. I always liked the mystery behind the meaning of girls' tattoos. She looks like a gymnast. Or maybe a dancer, I thought. "Thank you, baby, you're the best," Karen exclaimed. She gave Tiller a smooch on the cheek and came over to Lisa. "Let's go," she said, grabbing hold of Lisa's arm. Right in front of Tiller and I, Karen led Lisa to the chain. She tried to swing her leg over, but it caught. Karen tripped and knocked over the second post, but to her own surprise landed on her feet. Tiller ran right over to pick it up, and for his effort he got another peck on the lips. Watching them kiss made me want to puke, but on the bright side I knew the pleasant sensation of lightheadedness washing over me meant my shoulder would feel better soon. A girl in line began screaming at Karen, who screeched back. Another voice from the crowd called out, "Yo, man, what is this bullshit?" That's strange, I thought, after a flash of déjà vu. I turned to see who he was yelling at. Probably Tiller, I thought. "Chill out, like seriously, he's my boyfriend," Karen said, pointing at Tiller. "It's fine. Oh my god, just like calm the fuck down, okay?" "I don't give a fuck who your boyfriend is," screamed the girl opposing Karen. That was just wrong. Turning to the man beside her, she hissed, "I swear to God, Bo, you better kick that fucker's ass if this bitch doesn't get out of this fucking line. Holy hell. I swear I mean, I've been here all night. You better do something about this or I'll burn this place to the ground. I can't believe you dragged me here. This place is the worst." The girl was unraveling completely, which part of me would thought was highly entertaining. She turned away from Bo, looked up and at it in general. I knew it was going to be a bad night. I just had a feeling. We should have never left home. Her boyfriend said, "Please have them go to the back. That wasn't fair. God damn, bro. At least put away your fucking phone." Sounds reasonable, I thought, thinking he was addressing Tiller. Then I realized it was me the guy was talking to. Feeling dumb, I put my phone away. At least your arm is numbing, I thought to myself. I was about to say something, but the upset girl revamped her screeching. "What is your deal?" She emphasized each word like she was talking to a bunch of retards. "You can't just let your girlfriend cut. If either of you had an ounce of respect for yourself..." "Bitch, he respects me, understand?" "Does he like being whipped?" the irate girl said back to Karen. "What's that supposed to mean?" shouted Karen, as she shoved the girl in her way. Lashing out, the girl grabbed a handful of Karen's hair. Karen responded by grabbing a handful of hair for herself. Then the girls were face to face in a frenzy, shrieking and clawing at each other. Karen's forearm chopped down at the base of her opponent's neck. None of what was happening really surprised me. It was sort of like watching a cheesy movie with a B-list cast, where nothing is surprising. I think because of this it took me a second to realize I needed to move. Tiller got a hold of Karen first. I got to the other girl at the same time her boyfriend wrapped her up. "I'll kill you, bitch," the restrained girl roared. "I've got her boyfriend said, putting his hand on my chest. Looking back, his calmness should have stood out to me. "Just doing my job," I said. "Killing it," the guy said with his face twisted up in a smirk. "Babe, if you don't let me go, I swear I'm gonna kill you." The restrained girl was struggling to free her arm so she could resume flailing. "It's her or you." Barely holding his girl in a bear hug, her boyfriend, wide-eyed, looked at me and said, "Do your job and kick these girls out of the line." Karen was holding Tiller by the wrists, and Tiller was laughing. Lisa had disappeared. "Can you try to calm her down?" I heard myself mutter. "I don't want there to be an issue." My body felt like it was on cruise control, and my words came from what seemed like an outside source. "I will not calm down," she cried, as she tried to squirm away from her boyfriend by collapsing her butt to the ground. He looked like he was about to lose it as he pulled her up by the armpits. "Stop being a pussy," he said. "Get those girls the fuck out." "Fuck you, cunt!" Karen's voice exploded. "You're calling me a pussy," I yelled all of a sudden. "Fuck you! You go to the back. How about that?" He was about my size and I got right in his face. It was only then I realized several people had their phones out and were recording the whole scene. He pushed his girlfriend away and held his ground. Before I knew it, we were squared off. "Step back," he said. "Bit." My Superman hat lay on the ground, caved in and upside down. It was the first thing I saw when I came to. The blue part was streaked with mud. The boss was kneeling over me and pulled me up by my bad arm. I hung weightless for a second, and the boss caught me before I returned to the alley floor. Once I got my feet under me, he scooped up my hat. Walking down the stairs, I used the rail for support. Then the boss helped me into a chair in his office. He left the room without a word. I had to lean forward. Pain shot up from my tailbone when it touched the cushion. I opened my eyes and my boss was standing back over me, holding out something wrapped in paper towel, which turned out to be a latex glove filled with ice. Leaning on my elbow, I buried the left side of my face in the glove. I was ashamed of myself. Picking up my hat off his desk, the boss spoke to me for the first time. "Superman, huh?" To his one chuckle he added, "Are you alright?" I nodded. "What happened to the guy? Did I land any?" "He ran off," my boss told me. If you remember his face, you can tell the cops later. If you want to file a report. Your coach called. He told me to tell you not to talk to any media until he has a chance to talk to you tomorrow. You think you can do the dishwasher?" I nodded again. The cups were spinning so fast at the dishwasher I needed both hands and could not ice my eye. My left eye swelled shut, and by the end of the night I was soaked in sweat. Watching the crowd leave, I took off my hat and wiped my brow on my shirt. Accidentally, I rubbed some sweat into my good eye, and it stung so bad I had to close it tightly. I recognized Sam by his voice. "I heard what happened, man. I'm sorry. I should have warned you about Tiller. Dude's from another planet. And that girl?" Sam twitched as he said, "Sua Domina, a head of snakes." "Shit happens," Sam went on, smiling. "Live and learn." A bartender called for all to hear. "This asshole in a suit left shots on the bar." "What a waste," said another. "Who the hell would do such a thing?" Sam walked over to exchange a few words back and forth with the second bartender. The 2 shots were poured into a plastic cup before Sam walked back over. He bumped me out of the way, putting the empty glasses back in the dishwasher. "Take this, for your eye," he said, with our shoulders brushing, holding the cup down at our thighs. "You sure? What is it?" I asked, taking the cup and keeping it hidden at my waist. Sam nodded. "Tony says it's cool. Do it quick, now." I tipped back the cup. The double shot was fire on the way down and nearly backfired as well. I burped. "What was that?" I hacked up the words. "Straight Irish whiskey. Top shelf." As if it were all some sort of cruel joke, Sam went on. "Funny name, whiskey. Originally the Gaelic was translated from a Latin phrase, meaning water of life.